play to win or play not to lose?
This is hello, and this is Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ryan Dekker.
And we're part of the Dekker team, and we are so excited to welcome you back to another episode of The Inside Track, where we share thoughts, tools, and insights that really we all deserve, that we all need. You, I, everyone, so that we can really truly make our houses a home. Our families can thrive and we can live the best life possible.
Have you ever seen a sports team that is playing to not lose?
Yeah.
They're not really, they're playing defensively. They're trying to make sure that, the other team doesn't score. And generally, they end up losing.
Yeah, they do, because they're playing not to lose rather than
playing to win. So the team that usually wins is the one that was playing to win. Not always, but often. And you'll even see like higher tiered teams lose to worse teams because sometimes they play down to their level or sometimes they're playing, not to lose.
Right. And so today we're going to explore the 9 steps that will allow you to play to win rather than play not to lose if you're a buyer and you're thinking of buying a home this year or any year in the Ottawa market or beyond. A lot of the things we talk about, you could take across the country. You could even take the same principles primarily across the world. And yet we speak, when we talk about percentages and numbers, we really speak about the stability of the Ottawa and area market. And so it is there are some nuances there, and yet you're welcome and invited to share this information across the world because the truths in it really will cause people to play to win rather than playing not to lose when they're buying a home.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought because if you took the principles that we're talking about today,
right,
which, playing to win, and you took those to a much slower market,
right,
you would dominate that market.
As a buyer.
So not only these are very important to be able to succeed in today's market, but if you took these to a worse market or a lazier market, you would be so far above what's there. You
could own as many investment properties as you wanted and at the right price.
Yeah. In Ottawa, that's not going to happen.
No.
Because there's some checks and balances, and it's a very hot market.
It is.
So how do we play to win in this market, in this fast-paced, competitive market?
Well, number 1, we're going to actually talk about 9, and we may even give you the 9.5 because it's always kind of fun to add a little bonus there. And number 1 is get a true pre-approval. Because there's a big difference, isn't there, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to go into a bank and be like, hey, I make such and such every year. And they're like, awesome, here's your approval. You're locked in for 3 months. Go find your house.
I love how you did that. That was so Pollyanna.
Yeah.
And so not accurate.
Well, it is accurate to what they do, but it's dangerous.
Right. It is incredibly dangerous.
In this market.
Well, in any market, actually.
Well, it's a waste of time in other markets. In this market, it's dangerous.
Okay, so a waste of time or dangerous, I'm thinking that equals dangerous because I don't want to waste my time.
Fair enough.
And I don't want to waste your time. That's one of the things we're actually committed to is not wasting your time. Like, why have you look for a home that's in the wrong price range?
Yeah.
Or at the wrong time. Or worse yet, find a home, buy a home because you didn't put some of the other things in because you're playing not to lose rather than to win. And now all of a sudden you're in a real mess financially.
Or you spend the time looking at houses and paying for inspections and taking your family out and getting their emotions up and back down. And there's a lot to bringing a family through a home, for the buyer.
Yeah.
There's a lot there. And then to realize that you can't even buy a home right now.
Right. Or not the price point you were looking at. And the worst part of that is once you fall in love with one and then you have to readjust your budget, the one that you got away you put on rose-colored glasses. I haven't met a human yet that doesn't put rose-colored glasses on the one that got away.
Yeah.
Even if it was out of your price point, even if. So pre-approval simply means get all the checks and balances, get everything handled so that there is a minimal number of conditions attached to your pre-approval. There's still going to be some. There's still going to be the appraisal of the house. You can't get away from that.
You can't get away from it, but that doesn't have to be a condition.
Well, it generally will be.
Oh,
right?
of the mortgage.
Yeah,
you don't
mortgage.
mean of the offer.
No.
Thank you.
Not of the offer.
We're just talking about the financing here.
We're talking about pre-approval. Yeah. So with a pre-approval, there will be a few conditions, and yet they need to be conditions, and we're going to go through how you can mitigate the risk in not being able to fulfill those conditions in just a minute. So number one is like, provide your pay stubs, provide your employment letter, provide anything, TDS or otherwise, that your mortgage specialist asks you to.
A credit check will be done.
Yep.
Anyone who's going to be involved needs to have that done. And you get this all done in advance. And it may seem like, well, so much work.
It is a lot of work, Brian.
It is.
I just did it.
And well, so did I. In this market, and with their mortgage industry right now, it's getting crazy how much information they need.
And how much harder it is.
And it's getting a lot harder, especially in the beginning price point.
Yes.
You know, and I had some people the other week that were like, Brian, we're going to buy this house. It's so cheap. We can afford it. I'm like, excellent. Do you have your pre-approval?
Mm-hmm. Do you say it slow like that?
I don't know.
I do.
Depends on the person.
Do you have your pre-approval? Do you have it? Yes.
And they're like, well, we should have it in a few days. I went, excellent. Once you have that, we can jump. Until then, there's nothing to be done.
And we have done some other shows, and we'll continue to do shows about being nimble and jumping and moving fast and all of that. Yeah. Today is really more about how to play to win, rather than to play not to lose. And yet there's a lot of crossover in the different philosophies.
Yeah, and we've made it sound a little bit like you're playing not to lose, based on a little bit. But the reality is you can't win unless you're set up to win. And so this right now is the setup phase. This is your skates. This is your, helmet. These are the things that need to be done so you can even get on the ice.
Right. So get the pre-approval, get a complete pre-approval with as few conditions as possible. And part of that is I recommend a mortgage specialist because they're going to have access to more variety of lenders to be able to match who you are and your situation to the lenders that are out there. It can save you money, and it can certainly give you more strategy. So part of that pre-approval is also moving into step 2, get on the same page as all the decision makers before you go into buying the house. And although the mortgage specialist doesn't decide anything for you, they help you figure out what you can and can't decide.
Mm-hmm. They give you your parameters of what you can afford safely and appropriately, and and if you need to get a co-signer, which is pretty common these days for a lot of young people from their parents, well, the parents need to be a part of the pre-approval as well as figuring out what agent you're going to work with, what kind of house you want, because they're going to help you make that decision.
Right. And the sooner you get them on the same page, and we've said this, I know, in a lot of shows in the past, and it bears repeating, and that is if you're going to have some external people that aren't going to be living in the home, helping with the decision-making or helping with the finances, involve them, if possible, all the way through the process. Because if you just bring them in to see the one, what I've seen happen so often is you just set yourself up to lose.
Because, and I know a few weeks ago you did the analogy of the frog, and that's a great analogy. You got to see all the frogs before you know which one's a prince or kiss, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But
whatever
it was. It was a couple weeks ago. The reality is people need to see to understand and experience. Because the last home that some of the these people have bought was 10 years ago.
Or 20 or 30.
20. So they're still thinking that the market and the experience should be like they had it. They should have all the choices. They should be able to pay, $50,000 less than asking. And because they haven't been a part of the experience, they don't know. And so their advice is based on their past experience. And it's not that they're not smart or they're not.
Oh, they're brilliant.
They're brilliant. They just need to be up to snuff with today's experience.
And your experience.
Yeah.
Like specifically what you're dealing with. So get on the same page with everybody that's going to be living in the space and bring along for the ride everybody that's going to be part of the decision making.
Yeah. Now with children, this is the only time they might be living in this space.
Ooh, yeah.
But
yeah.
you may want to wait
yes.
to bring them in because it's too much emotion for them.
Yeah, it depends on the age of the kids.
Yeah,
and what
some want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And other ones just need to know, yes, we bought a house. Yes, we'll be moving in. Let's go select your room. Like they get maybe a little choice here or there, or maybe we'll pick the color of your room. Right. So you still let them be a part of the process, kind of, but the end game.
Yeah, the end game.
Yeah.
Which is part of playing to win, because you don't want your kids melting down.
Right.
When you're trying to make a move, because that's one tough thing to deal with.
Yeah, and it's hard on them.
Well, yeah, and it's hard on the parents, too.
Got to protect those babies.
And I got to protect the parents.
You do. Yeah.
Right. So it's protecting the kids and the parents in this journey, so that everybody gets to play to win. Number 3, do your thinking, do your processing, do your figuring out what way you want to go, as much as humanly possible, do your thinking before you go looking and see the right house.
No, I don't get this. So what does that mean? Explain it to me. Break it down.
Break it down. Break it down. Break it down. Like I feel like we're on the sports field again.
Yeah? We're getting there. I thought you were going to beatbox, but...
No, I'm not going to beatbox. I'm not good at that. So before you go find the right house, have decided what you will make as contingencies, what you will give up on, what you will hold fast on, what your parameters are going to be.
So your must-haves,
your must-haves, your preferreds, your finances, will I spend more money? Sometimes it's an education, except the risk is if you find the right house and you're at limbo because you still haven't explored the school districts, or you still haven't figured out whether there's the right activities available for your kids in that community, or then maybe you're delayed in making a decision. And now you're playing not to lose because you're playing not to move into the wrong area.
Right.
Rather than playing to win because you already know all that stuff is handled and now you can go full steam ahead because you will likely, in this very assertive market, depending on the price range and depending on where you want to be, you will likely lose the house of your dreams if you haven't played to win.
Yeah.
And that's really about preparation.
Someone else will win.
Somebody else will win it, and you won't. And we don't want that to happen to you.
I think that's enough on that one.
Yeah.
So point number 4, be willing to do a pre-inspection.
Yeah.
To me, this is a game changer.
Well, for a lot of our clients, it's a game changer.
Because you always do your offer, and then you get it accepted.
Always?
Yeah. Listen, we're here. You do. Yeah. We're going old school. Always. So you do your offer, and then you get it accepted, and then you've got at least 2 weeks to do your financing.
It's been 2 weeks for a long time, Ryan.
It's down to a week.
Yeah.
If you have that period.
Right.
And the reality is, if I was to put in an offer that had no conditions, and you were to put in an offer that had even one condition,
even financing, even appraisal,
even
inspection,
and even if I was a little bit lower on my price,
maybe even a lot lower,
I would probably
recently.
still win.
You would.
I think the rate of winning to not is about 400 times or something likely if you have no conditions to someone who has conditions, because generally we're going to be close on price. But if the seller knows that, hey, if I sign this, it's done. No hassle, no more showings, no more fear, no more cleaning the house perfectly like someone doesn't live here, all that stuff. It's done, it's done. It doesn't have to go back on the market and maybe I'll get less. I know what I know. There's a lot of security in that for a seller. And so being able to do your pre-approval, your pre-financing, have it all done before you even submit the offer.
Right, including your inspection.
Right.
We just sold a home recently, and there were 5 of the 10 offers that came in that had pre-inspections done. So yeah, there was a lot of money spent. The inspectors are really liking this, playing to win.
Well,
and so are the buyers, because now you're actually poised to know. Sometimes when you do the pre-inspection, you go, I actually don't want this one. And I just saved the risk. I just saved, even if I had conditions in it, I saved a week of my life. I got so much handled in advance, and I'm out a few $100s.
Well, and the reality too is, if let's say you're buying a lot of these, and I've talked about this before, an inspector will be willing to work with you.
Yeah, they do.
They'll say, you know what, you already did one with me, this one will be cheaper, because they feel bad.
They do.
So it's okay to get a deal on your inspection, especially if you have to do 2 or 3. You may be able to get it for only 20% more than what you would have paid for one.
Right.
Like it can be quite marginal. And there are ways, like if you do an inspection, you're like, this isn't the house, your inspector would probably, depending on who they are, my inspectors, would cut the rate because you don't even need the paperwork. Like
right.
You don't, because the report takes them as long as the inspection. So if you're saying, this isn't the house for us, we don't need the report, normally they're willing to cut you a deal on that.
Right.
So there's lots of techniques. I've only mentioned a few that can help you save on that. Yeah. But don't be scared to play to win. And that's what that is. It's saying, I'm ready to buy this house. I'm ready to go. I'm here to win.
Right. Which is point number 5, which can feel so scary. And that is, go in with 0 conditions, which is kind of what you mentioned a minute ago.
Yeah, I touched on it.
Yeah, you touched on just putting everything in order so that you can, with confidence, like truly with confidence, go, this is the house for me, and I know I've done my balances and checks to make myself secure, and now I'm going to go in with no conditions. And so going in with no conditions increases the probability that you're going to get the house. Now, in this market, there may be 4 or 5 of the people, if there's 10 offers for argument's sake, which we, like I said, we had the other day. We've had lots of others as well. This one was just
and they were
so
within
exciting.
a couple thousand of each other.
The 2 top offers were identical.
Right.
With no conditions.
Yeah.
And so then in that case, be prepared that you may get somebody to come back with, again, asking, because it's not all done. And yet you have to believe that when you come in with that offer, which is going to be a point in a minute, come in with your top dollar.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
and we're also going to talk about, we'll go in more detail about how to stay safe with your finance conditions.
Yeah.
Now, when we say be willing, no conditions, it's not that you're not going to do these things.
No.
It's that you do them before the offer.
Right.
And usually you have time because people are holding offers for a week. So you have the week to go and make sure everything's good.
You're just doing it in advance.
Now, there's a few things that won't happen, like your bank probably won't appraise it.
Right.
And so that is point number, we'll call it 7. So we'll get
okay, so we will get there. So just really be available. It's actually point number 9, to have access to extra down payment monies if your appraisal doesn't come in at the amount. Now, the appraisers try to have them come in where they should, and yet if there's no data, because the market is increasing, it's kind of,
or if you decide I'm
game.
willing to pay a little more for this than maybe the market says, because I know in 2 months from now it'll be at this price anyways.
Right. And now I have my house and I'm living there.
And now I have my house, I'm living there, my family can go to the school they want, when they want. Like, you're willing to pay a little bit more than the market says because you know it's going to get there anyways.
Yep, exactly.
So you got to have a little bit of extra cash.
Extra cash or access to extra cash.
Yeah.
Number 6. This is huge.
So huge.
Be available. Be available for dropping everything to go see what you think is the one. And then be available for offers. Just availability alone will change whether very often, will change whether you get the house you want.
Yeah.
Playing to win means accessible, available, playing full out. So during the season of finding the home that really is for you, it means playing full out, which is available on the field with everything you've got and available to drop things if you must. It's inconvenient.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you it's convenient. It's not. And to get the home that is best for you, why would you make it convenient to get second best?
Right.
Like, or
now,
third best, or
now
fourth
there are
best.
things that we can do to help facilitate this and make it easier for you, so availability is easier.
Yes.
Like, signatures are usually done on your phone now.
Yeah.
We don't need to sit down and fax it 6 times.
And we don't have to sit in your kitchen table.
Right.
And I'm thinking more the whole get out to see the thing.
Right. And some houses, though, have 7 days.
Yes.
So if it's got 7 days, take your time. Let's, do a few at the same time. Let's make it a nice picnic, whatever.
Go to
Timmy's, sometimes, and there was one yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
Where the person called me and said, hey, I'd like to go see this soon. I was like, great, it's conditionally sold. Because there was no time. It was sold within a day.
Yep.
It's gone. It's, they had to act instantly.
Yep. We had a client do the same thing 24 hours ago as well.
So as we're sending you properties and as you're seeing them, you need to also look and say, when are they accepting offers?
Right.
To decide when you need to see it.
Right. Because many of them are accepting offers now and gone. So not anymore because it's already been bought. So, and most houses now have a built-in 24-hour minimum turnaround on offers, and yet there are some where you can still as a realtor, you can go in with 3 hours. It comes on the market at at noon today, for argument's sake. We see it at 12:30, and then by 3:30 it's sold.
Yeah.
Which
means they did the paperwork.
Yep.
They showed it to the sellers. It's been accepted and signed, maybe countered back once or twice. It's done.
Or not, because we've decided we want the house. So then going in with a great offer rather than risking that somebody looks at it after work, because it's a little more convenient to look at it after work. Why would I, break up my day? Why? I can't even wait till lunch. I got to do it in the morning because I actually saw this one at 9 a.m. So I want to be in there as fast as I can. So I get into the office. I ask to take the first half of the day off. I turn around and I go see it because I'm pretty sure it's the one.
Yeah,
and they're not holding back
don't waste your
offers.
time and don't waste our time
Please
if it's the wrong house.
No.
If you already know, I have a few clients who call me and they're like, hey, Ryan, we think we want to see this. And I'm like, you told me you didn't want to be in this area. And they're like, that's true, but we're just feeling like, we got to see something because we haven't seen one in our area in a few days. And it's like, hold on, guys. Don't go this isn't even second best. This is 6th best.
Or 10th.
Or 10th. No, we're not going to see this house. No, you don't need to turn your life upside down. No, I don't need to turn my life upside down. It's just no. And they're actually very grateful. I know I'm sounding a little bit, because that's playing to win. You're spending your time on the things that actually matter.
Right.
Not
don't waste time.
Yeah.
You're not wasting time to do a play that's not going to make any difference in the game.
Right. Yep.
7, your offer.
Now, this is in multiple offers.
Yeah, and
sometimes if
not
you're
even
the only
in
offer.
multiple because you don't want to enter into multiple offers.
Right.
And you've moved quickly. There's no delayed offer presentation. You've got the time on your side this time.
Yeah.
Except if you go in low thinking, hey, I'm just going to get a counter anyway. And by the time you get the counter, or just before they send the counter back to you, another offer comes in.
Yeah.
And now it's so good that they don't even give you another shot at it. They don't have to, because there was another
they don't
offer.
think you're serious because you're below what seems reasonable to them. And
so they move on. So sometimes even without multiples, lots of clients will choose, you know what, I know this one's going to go pretty quick. I know there's going to be a ton of interest. We were quick. You were quick. We are in. And we have this little teeny window of opportunity. That's playing to win, is grab the windows of opportunity that are there. It's like kicking that goal the ball into the corner of the soccer net when I used to watch you guys. There was this little, and still do, I guess, this little window of opportunity, and if you kick it right there, you played the win rather than going, it's too hard. I'll wait till it's bigger opportunity. Sometimes it's the little tiny opportunity that you want to jump for.
The last house I bought, I knew I had 2 days or it was going to be just blown through the roof. So I think I acted quicker than that. because I didn't want things to change, because I wanted the opportunity. It was going to benefit the sellers. It was going to benefit me. Let's get this done. And so when you have that kind of like, I know what I want and I'm getting it.
Right.
You can save lots of money. You can save lots of heartache, lots of wasted time. Just yeah.
Absolutely.
Play to win.
So if somebody else bought the house for $100 more than you bring in, that you offer, you'd be happy for them and not sad for yourself. That's a great way to think about what's the most I want to pay for this house. And we're not saying you always want to pay the most for a house. There's lots of times in lots of markets and lots of properties we say, let's go low. We don't need to go high. Just right now, we're playing to win in a market that's pretty wild.
But even in that market, if you were to say, I'm willing to get this house at this price because it makes sense in this market, it's still okay to go up to your close. As long as there is especially in Ottawa, if you need to do some countering and you have the time, we're Canadians, we're nice. We like to meet in the middle and we like to do at least one or two back and forth. There are some of those things that are just natural to humans. However, in this market, you don't have that luxury.
Nope.
You don't.
Nope. And access to a large deposit is number 8. Have access to lots of money up front, because if you're going to put 5% down, even if it's only a 5% down purchase, you probably have accessibility to most of that money. Make your deposit large, especially in multiple offers, because it's more attractive.
Now, you don't mean your down payment.
No.
You mean your deposit.
Right, with the offer.
With the offer. So
or upon acceptance.
Right, so it'll say in the offer, $10,000, $15,000, $100,000, whatever the number is to be held in trust by the other brokerage, the seller's brokerage, until the day of close. Mm-hmm. And there's only 3 ways. We talked about this in another show.
Yeah, we'll go back for that.
Yeah, go back for that.
So, number 9.5.
No. So the reason that's important is it's security to the seller.
Yeah.
And so if the number is bigger in the deposit, they will feel that 1, you have money, 2, if something goes awry, there's some security for them.
Exactly.
So it's a pretty big thing, even though it has no impact on the sale itself.
Yeah. And we alluded to this earlier, and that's have a trusted team and a team that can act fast. Actually,
this is 9.5.
Yeah, it's 9.5.
Yeah.
Super fast. You want somebody that's got as much in the motivation to take care of you as you have motivation to be taken care of. Because you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily even know what you need to know.
Right. There's 3 levels of learning.
Right.
There's the first level where you just don't know what you don't know. And then the second is you know what you don't know. But what you want on your team is an expert who knows they know what they need to know. Meaning they've already done it, they've experienced in it, they know what they need to know, and they're good to go. So you want to have a real estate agent like us, you're going to have a mortgage broker, an inspector, they know what they need to know.
Yeah, so being at peace is not knowing things will be okay, it's actually knowing you will be okay.